Who better than Derek, Pat, Andrew, the wrestling crew? Man, they bout to put an end to y'all careers like a finishing move. They bout to give y'all facts on these cats that's fighting on these mats. Y'all can't see them like John Cena. Even if y'all had 20/20 vision, y'all better listen, pay attention, and take notes down, and realize that it's not your time now. And watch these three kings take the crown. Hey, hey.
This is Little Wicked Witch, and this is Wrestling IQ 101. Better listen, bitches.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of Wrestling IQ 101. Make sure you subscribe, leave a comment, like this video. And we're sitting here with Derek and Pat.
What's up, guys?
And our special guest of the evening, the Vile from the Nile, Prince Akkanatan. How are you?
Oh, thank you. Very good. It's good to be here. Thank you for having me.
That's funny, man. How's everything going?
Oh, pretty good. You know, just flew in from Egypt and boy, is the carpet tired. No, it wasn't a bad time. It was like less than an hour.
Oh,
but, good to be here. Yes.
That's funny.
Is Jasmine there?
Jasmine stayed home in Brooklyn tonight.
Oh man. So can you, for our fans, can you kind of tell us how you got started with wrestling?
Sure. Well, I've been around for about 10 years now. This is my 10th year we're going into. I was always a wrestling fan. I was born in Egypt, but I grew up here in New Jersey. So the secret's out. I don't deny it anymore. You know, but you know, I was just always a fan, and I guess things were different for me growing up. People were always like, I eat, sleep, and breathe my dream, and I'm gonna be a WWF champion and all the WWE champion. I'm old. What can I tell you? No, I just wanted to see if I could do it, if I could handle the training itself. I didn't even know if I'd ever have my first match, you know. So I just got in there, and boy, it's a good thing my expectations were set nice and low, because some guys are naturals when they step in the ring for the first time. I sure wasn't. But I had a good enough time in failure that, you know, I got in there and I was not cut out for it. I was not a natural. My bumps were terrible. My timing was terrible. It was all pretty bad, but it slowly got. Somebody must think it's good. I mean, I'm booked every weekend, so I can't be that terrible. But I enjoyed the people I met, and I enjoyed the camaraderie and the brotherhood. And then once you figure out who you are in the ring, and that's why, you know, I don't really train guys, even though I've been at this a while. I don't think I'm the right type of person to train guys. But younger guys do come to me about stuff about characters and gimmicks. Once you figure out who you are, who your gimmick is, everything gets a little bit clearer. So
That's awesome.
and that's kind of how the snowball started rolling, as it were.
Nice. That's awesome. So can you kind of tell us, like, when you first started, like, where did you train at and who trained you?
Sure. It was the ECPW school in Lake Hiawatha. Probably one of the older schools in North Jersey. It's Gino Caruso's school. Of course, he trained me. But I also have to give credit to the Kodiak Bear. Kodiak Bear was an old-time New York independent heel, just classic, old school here. Very big man. When I first met him, he was probably about 450 pounds. Eventually, he had, you know, the weight loss surgery. So now he's probably about my size right now. But I would say, I put it like this. Gino taught you how to wrestle, and the Kodiak Bear taught you how to be a wrestler. Okay. So through Bear, I learned a little bit more about psychology and how to introduce yourself to a promoter, how to conduct yourself in a locker room, when to speak up about money, and a lot of character stuff I learned from him. In fact, it's always a compliment when some of the older workers watch one of my matches and they see, you know, I see Bear's thumbprint in your work. So, and he's a great guy. He still wrestles maybe once or twice a year. And it's always a great name to bring up to some of the older independent workers and have, you know, pop them. He's a funny guy and a fun guy and just a real well-traveled gentleman.
So you got to wrestle Robbie E.
I did.
How was that wrestling Robbie?
It's great. Watch it on YouTube. I've been blessed. I've wrestled a lot of name guys, for lack of a better term, guys that, you know, were in the WWF and TNA and Japan and all over the place. I can't explain how I've been lucky like that, but yeah, Robbie was not to minimize Robbie, but you know, I've had the pleasure to wrestle a lot of famous people, and Rob's great. You know, he keeps himself in great shape, and I'm part of the BBWF. If we're talking about other federations, and he's a very strong part of primetime. One of the reasons I gravitated toward not just being a part of the BBWF shows, but BBWF primetime features Rob there almost every Wednesday. So you get that sort of feedback from somebody that's currently working on national television. Help guide your own work. You know, 'cause we can all use more work. There's always room for improvement. You know, I don't care if you work in 10 days or 10 years. You can always get better. And then not only that, it's another place to just sharpen your skills. I can go to any of the wrestling schools in an open ring and just bump my brains out and stretch and do 1,000 push-ups, and I do once a week. Okay, maybe once a month. but to actually go into a working atmosphere and get that feedback from your peers is also very valuable. It's all types of different workouts. You got to be very versatile in your training.
So you're the BBWF primetime champion.
The primetime champion, yes.
And so that's like it's a newer promotion, right?
Yes.
So how does that feel to be kind of like one of the first primetime champions and really help that company grow?
From what I heard, they used to run events in, I guess, the late 90s or the early 2000s. I wasn't a part of it then. But yeah, for all intents and purposes, it is like a new promotion. And that's another thing that drew it to me, other than everything I just said about feedback and a camaraderie of something new. They're trying. They're doing something new. And that first, when they first messaged me, the guy who runs it, he's like, "Hey, do you want to work for BBWF?" I'm like, BBW?
That's what I said when I heard it too.
Is this about some sort of fat girl wrestling? I'm not saying no. I just want to know. But sure enough, I had a great time. I wrestled Bill Daly, who I've known for many years, but I never shared a ring with him. And he's a very talented gentleman, and he actually just retired through a neck injury. So hats off to Bill. And then I saw the locker room, a lot of the talented Wrestle Pro guys, a couple of IWF guys, and oddballs like me who just wound up there in the middle, who are not really associated with any one in particular organization. And then it just grows. The primetime thing, having a weekly YouTube television show gives you a chance to try new things. I obviously can't do my same old tired spots every single week. I would like to. I wish I could. But I have to think of something new, especially if you're wrestling the same people that a little more frequently. Like Matthias Glass, I wrestled him maybe 3 times on primetime, where we got to do something different each time.
I like that guy.
Oh, he's great. He's fantastic. Have you had him on yet?
No, we haven't had him on.
Gotta.
I think he's great. I think for his size and the gimmick, I just love. I'm Jewish as well, so it's just like man, this guy has the whole shtick down.
I'll be honest. When I first saw it, I'm like, that's gonna get the wrong kind of heat. But he definitely won me over. Fantastic attitude, and I can't say enough nice things about him.
He's hilarious.
And he's hilarious.
And
Yes.
good wrestler on top of that. So, and we're gonna reach out to him. So if you're listening, drop us a message or we'll find you.
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, but and they're growing, and to be in this I'm not sure when this is actually going to air, when this is going to go live, but this Sunday's BBWF Battlemania, and I am in a 7-way.
Yes.
I've grown to love multi-man matches, but I've never been in a 7-way. So that's quite a bit, and some very talented people in there. Chris Avery Kelling, Senny Kiss, and Big Money Juan Vargas, and a whole bunch of people. I'm looking forward to it.
There's gonna be a lot of big names on that card.
Yeah, Ryback's going to be there.
Moff.
Moff is going to be there. Yeah.
Legend. You also got a chance to wrestle Sonny Kiss. How was it wrestling him?
Believe it or not, I've only wrestled him once. We have ridden together for 2 straight years, almost everywhere, all up and down the East Coast, and we didn't wrestle each other. And the only way I was able to wrestle him is when I booked it my damn self. Because he's getting that, there's a lot of guys I enjoyed working with. I was happy to say that I worked with Sean Carr when he first came into business, and now he's a big indie star. And I watched Mike Orlando rise to be a big indie star, and they all have that same. And Sonny Kiss is on this same path where they're becoming huge stars. And this is not a knock on anybody, and it's not a knock on myself, but the huge stars get booked in huge promotions, and Prince Akkanatan doesn't. And if I am on the same show as a Sean Carr, you're not going to waste Sean Carr on Prince Akkanatan. You're going to put him with Homicide or Paul London or whoever you brought in to give him a fast-paced, hard-hitting match. You don't want him to do the Prince Akkanatan comedy bullshit match. You throw Matthias Glass in there.
Oh, man. So, kind of speaking of that, is there anybody who you haven't worked with that you would want to work with in the future?
There's plenty. Actually, Orlando, I've never worked with. You know, those other guys they grew, but I've never had a match with Mike Orlando. I think I would enjoy that. MJF out there, Feinstein. I really like that kid, and he's gonna be a big star.
Yeah.
It's getting all over him. So before he gets too big to ever be on a show with me again, I hope I do get to share a ring with him.
He's doing incredible things with CCW.
Yeah.
It seems like it's a trend. If they don't fight you, they don't become big stars.
Oh well, you know, MJF, you gotta get your spot. You don't want him to turn you away in Florida.
Everybody should be lining up to fight you, man.
I'm the good luck Chuck of wrestling. There's an obscure reference for you.
Oh man.
You guys are booking your own matches some more.
Seriously,
Well,
right?
I used to get to have the book back in the day for a couple of things. I would love to book again. I don't want to run my own promotion because I don't want to use my own money. But hey, Money Mark's out there. You need somebody to guide you. Well, you can trust me. Can't do any worse, right?
Yeah.
So you used to have Sheik as your manager.
I did.
So not only is he legend, but he's the character. So you gotta have some good memories.
Everyone who's met the Iron Sheik has Sheik stories, and of course I have a few. So here goes. Okay, I was nervous the first time I met the Sheik because I came into wrestling and I only met the Sheik maybe I was like 15, 16 matches in, so I'm not deep into my career. And he's at the height of his Howard Stern show fame, where all the YouTube viral videos of him losing his shit on people are going all over the place. So I don't know. Is he gonna be happy to see me? Is he gonna be not happy to meet me? Is he gonna be mad that he's working with some kid who doesn't know anything? But no, he's a very nice man. But my first impression was a street fair in Brooklyn. He's sitting in a steel chair on 3rd Avenue on a corner by a Chase ATM, and he's just yelling at Eric Sims. Eric, you motherfucker! You bring me wrong bit loud. It's like 9:30 in the morning on Sunday, and but he was happy to see me, and he managed me that Sunday, and then he managed me that Friday in a steel cage match. Well, I was in the cage, obviously he was on the outside, against JC the Outpatient, a very nice guy, and if you've never seen him, he's sort of like a Cactus Jack type of clone, I guess, not disparagingly. So very hardcore match. You know, he takes up the big 2x4 with the barbed wire and all that, and you know, it was a rough match. And then he managed me the next night, and I was happy because we got a little bit of time just to chill and talk. You know, and I asked him about the cage match tonight before I go, Sheik, what do you think? He goes, oh, he's a big man, and you know, he's stiff. And I'm like, yeah, he's somewhat stiff, yes. And then I said, you know, but it's tough because he hit me with the gimmick. The Sheik's face lit up. You know, what the gimmick at? No, Sheik, not that gimmick. No, I meant the 2x4. But nonetheless, I was happy to, and I guess the last Sheik story would be one of the many matches with the Patriot. And Iron Sheik was managing me, and I had planned to end this match with the Iron Sheik hitting somebody with his cane. As we're finishing this matchup, the Iron Sheik, who at this point couldn't really stand for very long, so he's sitting in a chair at ringside, falls asleep. So I just tell the referee, ref, my finish fell asleep. What should we do? Oh, man. But God bless the Sheik. I love it.
Did you see the movie?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, very. I'll tell you what, Bundy looked pretty bad. I'm sorry I didn't say, but overall, very good movie. The Snake the Jake movie is very good too. You know?
And the Resurrection,
Yeah.
that was,
They're sort of the same movie. It's like when Walk the Line and Ray came out at the same time.
Oh, right.
Just pick your subject. It's pretty much the same.
both are very good.
Both very good.
So going back to the Patriot, you got to wrestling a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Is that like your favorite feud of anything you've done?
Yeah, because at this point it's easy.
Okay.
And it's just I credit him because the Patriot was only my 8th or 9th match, and you know, when most guys are new, they're figuring out who they are and they figure out what they do in the ring. And I said, you know, when you figure out your character, it's a little bit easier, but you still got to do something. You can't just stand and yell the whole 10 minutes. You have to do and take maneuvers for a wrestling match to work. And the Patriot kind of showed me he showed me the value of Gaga. And 90% of what I do now is Gaga. You know, maybe that makes me a bad wrestler. Maybe that's why I don't get booked on these shows with Sean Carr and whatnot. I finally figured it out. I had a breakthrough right there on your podcast. But we're doing these Looney Tunes matches basically with these cartoonish maneuvers and these cartoonish sequences, and a light bulb went off in my head between the Kodiak Bear doing stuff like this and Patriot doing stuff like this. I'm like, this is what I want to be. I want to be an entertainer. I'm not gonna be the strong style guy, and there's no disrespect to that. God bless the people that do that. That's not my style. I'm not a technician. I'm not gonna work the world of sport match to the 5 round style with all this technical and beautiful transition. I can't. I'm just not built for it. But I'll entertain you. They'll remember my goofy shit, and they'll remember your technical matches. Doesn't make me better than you. Doesn't make me worse than you. It's just different. Million flavors of ice cream.
Yeah, I was just watching one of the Patriot matches you had when he brought you around ringside and everyone was slapping you.
I also remember, I think it was some minor league baseball field in Connecticut where he brought me all around the bases and he just gave me a pile driver at home plate.
Oh, man.
Quite a night. That was the only show I actually ran myself. Well, I had a partner with me, so I ran it. With our money. It was 5 Star Wrestling was the name of the promotion, the only show we ever ran. And my partner, who was an attorney, he said, "Oh, don't worry, I'll take care of the trademarks and everything." 'Cause I thought 5 Star Wrestling was a pretty cool name for the promotion, cool logo and everything. And whatever, run the one show, got it out of my system. I didn't need to run anymore. And years later, I finally buy a PS4 and I'm browsing the games you can download. They had a little game called 5 Star Wrestling, and my eyes spit out cartoon dollar signs, because I believe I'm a co-owner of the trademark for 5 Star Wrestling. So I call my partner, Matt, there's a game that's called 5 Star Wrestling. You want me to sue him for the trademark? He goes, I never filed that. You piece of shit.
Oh, man.
So, yeah, whatever. What are you going to do?
So, do you normally do, like, heel, or do you do face, like, more often?
I'm doing a little more face work lately, which I enjoy,
Yeah.
For the beginning of my career, a lot of it was ECPW, and not to put them down, but they're much more old school in their views. So, in their view, a character like mine could never be babyface.
Babyface, yeah.
But I don't think that's true. I think any character, if you do it right, could of course be a babyface. Some are better.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Sonny Kiss should ever be a heel,
Yeah.
but it could happen.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
Sonny
yeah.
can't do it. But I think from a booking standpoint, it doesn't make it. It's like Bailey. Bailey is this feel-good character.
Of course, yeah.
Why would you ruin this great connection with the audience? And, there might be I think there's some jerk-off bookers out there that just like to play devil's advocate. And, hey, you know what? If they have that great idea that's going to change the business, God bless them. I've heard it before. So, but yeah, and the character's a little bit different. The heel character, it started off as cheeky and no say USA. No, I don't do any of that anymore.
Gotcha.
I try not to play off cultural stereotypes because America just turned heel basically in November.
Yeah,
so
basically,
so
right.
that all gets a little bit dicey, So who's really the bad guy there? And not only that, and I posted something like this on Facebook not long ago, but I'll tell the story here. It always goes back. We did some assembly. We had the show at a school on Saturday and Thursday during the day. Myself, Andrew Anderson, a couple other of the guys that were on the show were at this assembly at the school. And the kids are asking questions. We also happened to be having the show when it was Anti-Violence Week, which was just hilarious. So all the kids are asking, why are we having this on Anti-Violence Week? I don't know. But one little Arabian girl, I don't know what type of, I think she was Lebanese maybe. She raises her hand, she got these big expressive eyes, and she goes, question for the prince. Why are you the bad guy? Is it just because you're Arabic? And boy, did I feel like a piece of shit. So I never forgot that little girl. I'm sure she's forgotten me. I'm sure she wasn't at the show, but there's always some kid over there. This is a story I told with Matthias class pretty much the day I met him. I'm like, there's going to be a Jewish kid that sees you and what you do.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not telling you don't be Jewish, but be smart about what you do. I wouldn't, if I were him, I wouldn't be chasing around rolls of pennies or throwing bagels at people. Maybe you will, but if there's a way to do it tastefully.
Bagels are delicious.
Bagels are delicious.
I gotta ask you, you have a unique offense. You use your strap to choke people.
Mm-hmm.
How'd you even come up with that? Because my friend, he's not a wrestling fan, but he goes to me to the shows and he was like cringing. He's like, oh man, he shouldn't be doing that. He's like, is that sanitary? I'm like, I don't know. I thought it was pretty cool.
I've been doing that. I've been doing that, and spots like it for about a year now. And in that whole year, only one person has ever asked them to you watch? I guess most of them just don't care, or yeah, I don't know. But I'm sure they care, but they don't. They figure the spot's over. The spot's over. But I love it. It just sort of came to me one day, and I tried it out. Warriors of Wrestling does their unreleased tapings, and it's one of those tapings where there's no fans. They just film it for YouTube. The wrestlers are around the ring, sort of like how Beyond Wrestling started. And one of their students, I'm working with him, Jose Salvador, great kid, and I tell him what to do, and we do the spot. It's not as clean as it would become because it's the first time we're doing it, and the workers are around the ring, and we get the "This is awesome" chant from the workers. I mean, we didn't leave our feet. We didn't do some complicated flip, flop, and fly type of deal. No, again, no disrespect on that. That's great for the guys that can do it, but that's not what I do. I'm not athletic. I'm old. I'm fat. I'm short. I have to find something that works for me to stand out. So stuff like that's kind of the way I've been going. Is it right? Is it wrong? I don't know. I'm still getting booked. Can't be that bad. I'm not getting booked at big places, but I'm getting booked enough.
So you mentioned old fat guys.
where are you getting at here, kid?
What do you say? Tell me, what was the experience like taking the stink face?
Oh, taking a few of them. I've taken
Yeah.
taken probably like 3 or 4 of them.
Oh,
It's everything you would imagine. I try to block that out, and I try to just imagine the things I was able to learn from Rikishi, and wrestling in Rikishi was a great experience. Wrestling any Samoan is a great experience. Love that whole family. It wasn't even so much. Well, let's not beat around the bush. Stink face was not a pleasant move to take, but it was the bonsai drop that fucked me up a little bit
crushed
more.
you.
Yeah.
oh man.
I could imagine. Right?
Yeah.
Girls
Actually,
coming on you.
and actually, Yokozuna was my favorite wrestler growing up when I was a kid. So
Really?
it was
Oh,
mixed
I love
emotions.
Yokozuna.
Yeah, it was mixed emotions. So on one hand, I got to take it, but on the other hand, it hurt like hell.
What's your favorite Yoko match?
Oh, the whole program with the Undertaker was fantastic.
That's classic.
That was,
yeah.
From the cast
Yeah. His tag work with Owen Hart. I think that's one of those great mismatched tag teams that still somehow really worked. And of course, matches with Brett were great too. So.
But with Virgil.
Oh yeah, how could you forget? Fuck money for everybody. It's Olive Garden classic.
Oh my
That's my
god.
favorite Yokozuna match of all time. And we had Fala on, and I just told him that whole story.
Who's more of a character, Virgil or Sheik? Now that you know Sheik.
I've never met Virgil in person, so I really can't put him in the same category.
You know the Virgil story?
Unfortunately, no, I've never met Virgil.
No, it's fortunately no. You don't have one.
Follow the hell out of him though on social media.
Oh yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Chase you around the rec center. More money.
So back in 2011, you I guess you could say kind of retired.
I did.
So can you tell us
research?
yeah. Can you tell us about that situation and the retirement and you coming back to wrestling?
Yeah, I wish it was a more entertaining story, but there's really not much there. I started getting burned out, and you could tell if you find pictures, and every now and then I'll post a picture with hashtag really fat prince. That's I'm wearing these black garbage baggy pants. It's the only gear I had, so it looks like shit. My body looks like shit. I stopped caring. I ballooned up to close to 300 pounds. Not an impressive 300 pounds either. Just fat fuck 300 pounds. Kind of like you. No. I'm sorry. Guy invites me to his home and I insult him. But I got a little burned out, because I was, for a while, I worked every ECPW show they ran, and for everything good and bad people say about ECPW, they run a lot of events in multiple states. That's a great way, and that's one reason I'm glad I started there, is because I was able to work so much rather than waiting once a month or once every other month whenever, my trainers felt they could put me on their few shows. Gino always ran shows all the time, all over the place. And it was just, other things in life, and I pretty much stopped. I got tired. It was one of those things where as soon as I stopped, I wanted to come back, but obviously you couldn't. How are they going to miss you if you never go away?
Yeah.
I stopped November, Black Friday of 2011. I was already back by February 2012 to do the very first Rob Fury show, which would become SWF. It was Genesis Championship Wrestling when he started. So he brought. It's funny too because as a guy that wrestled for Gino for so long, people like to put him down to me, and I understand, you know, everybody has their own business relations with different people. Gino's always been good to me. But a lot of people come to me and like, oh yeah, my promotion's not going to be like Gino's. Everybody's going to get paid. Gino paid me just fine. But hey, if you want to pay me just fine too, I'll work for you too. So, very first SWF GCW show, you know, I worked with Rob Fiore. Promised X amount of dollars. What's half an X? So, so I got less than half of an X. And I remember Bull James and I chasing down Rob Fiore trying to get the rest of our money. And that was the last time I saw Bull James before he got signed. Great guy, by the way. And then I was pretty much gone. I came back to be a surprise in a Royal Rumble once that nobody cared about. And that was pretty much it. 2013, I would go back up to the ECW school just to work out, kind of how I started.
Yeah.
Just want to see if I could still do it. And I would sort of build toward a comeback, and then I get cold feet, and back and forth it went. And then 2014, I remember it too. I saw a poster for an ECPW event in Brooklyn. Randomly called one of the Brooklyn guys, and I say, hey, you know, I'll show up. And this guy got overexcited. You'll tell Gino to put you on the event, and you'll put the belt on you. And I'm like, what? No, I'm gonna come by and say hi. And so having known that this Brooklyn guy who's going to talk to Gino and say a bunch of things I probably didn't say, I went the night before to Paramus, where ECBW was, just to see Gino and say hi and kind of smooth over whatever was already said. And I remember driving there because this was when the Ebola thing was really going on and it was all over the internet. So I'm like, I want to get back into wrestling. Now there's a bloodborne illness we can all catch. I want to get back into wrestling. And not only that I talked to Gino, see some of the old timers that I knew. Well, I don't want to use the word old timers, but you know the guys I worked with: Merengue Warrior, Andre Anderson, Crazy Ivan, Doug DeVito, all of those guys, and meet some of these new guys who, keep in mind, you know, I'd been at the school, so I knew who Aaron Bradley was, and I knew who Kenny Bangle was. I just hadn't seen them wrestle on an event. So I did stay and I watched them. I'm just like, yeah, I gotta come back, and I have to have a match with this Aaron Bradley kid, and I have to have the match with this Fenris Wolf kid and this Sonny Kiss guy, and just yes, I can see everything I can do here. And full steam ahead. They brought me back as a manager at first. I guess he wasn't sure if I would be flaky and leave again, which I don't blame him. I put him in that position. And sure enough, I'll give credit to Keith Zimmer, a guy who didn't have too kind of things to say about me recently, but I walked back into his events, which were ECPW events overall, but he had the book for Pennsylvania and upstate New York, and I was able to get back in there and wrestle again, work off some of that ring rust. Thank you, Keith.
So, what made you and Sonny like become travel partners, and just talk about that relationship a little bit?
I don't know. it could have been anything, but I'm glad it's here because it pushed me to other places as well. And it pushed him to other places to a smaller extent. Um, he'll probably correct me if he was here, but he was in wrestling, but he wasn't taking it as seriously as he could. Part of it was a transportation issue. With me, he had transportation, reliable transportation. So we were able to go to more training together. And not only that, I was more likely to go to training if I was going with somebody like that. Whereas if I was only going once a week, now I'm going twice a week, 3 times a week, whatever. And now it's not just going to training at ECBW. We're going to go to ACE, too. And we're going to go to Warriors Wrestling. And then, hey, this weekend we're not booked. We're going to go down to Lancaster and try to get on Lancaster Championship. So it was really just growing the business for both of us because he was new and I'm just, not only am I getting back in, that whole first run, 2007 to 2011, was mostly ECPW. I kind of did things here and there, Johnny Rods and wherever the Patriot would, you know, set me up, but it was sort of just growing the business for both of us, and it just kept going from there. And I'm glad it worked out
I gotta talk to you about Instagram for a second. You came up with that.
I did.
And
Did you trademark it?
No. There's a lot of shit I didn't trademark.
I saw today you had a custom figure made of you.
I did.
Nice.
How exciting is that?
It's really nice. It really kind of keeps you going. Because this, I don't know, this might be pulling back the curtain too much, but wrestling can be a mental minefield. It can be a real roller coaster. You know, one minute it's full steam ahead, the future is yours, and you're gonna go to Japan and wrestle all over the world and be famous. And the next minute it's like, why the fuck am I doing this? Who cares? What am I doing here? I should have finished college or whatever, you know, something like that. But to know you have an effect like that on people, it does really keep you in the game, and it shows you what it's all about. And I didn't ask for that, this kid or this guy, he went out of his way to make that, And from what I hear, I'm one of his favorites, and it's nice to make that impression because, as I said, the wrestling business is different things to different people. Some of us, this is just a stepping stone to get to WWE. It's WWE or fuck you, and for the rest of us, it's enjoying the moment. And again, I'll credit Cody Bear for that. And he didn't expressly say this, but to go out in a live crowd, some high school in Brooklyn, let's say, or Queens or whatever, in front of a crowd that they're not on the internet bitching about everything. They're just there to see wrestling that night in their town to be entertained and appreciate it for what it is. And they may never see it again on an independent level. They may have never seen independent wrestling before, and some of these parents are never going to see it again. But they can still enjoy it for what it is. They can still see that guy playing the spot with the singlet, and that's funny, or the guy who's taking a big tumble off the top of the cage, or it's unique moments. They don't remember the matches, but they're going to remember the moments, and it's nice when they remember me. Because there's a lot for them to remember.
So, Andrew mentioned Princegram.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want you to go through that about how you feuded with the artist formerly known as Prince.
I won, didn't I? No, messed up. No.
Showed him.
I have to say that's really what kind of launched me over at Ace because I had started training there with Sonny, sort of like as I said to answer your other question, and of course, and I got used to this, and it's not a bad thing. Everybody's all over Sonny. He does athletic things nobody else can do, and that's wonderful. And he's got star written all over him, and I'm just sort of along for the ride. So they'll gush over Sonny. It's like, oh hey Prince, you're still here? No, I'm kidding, but they were putting me on and finding a place for me, but they didn't really know what to do with me. And this is the problem I think I've had the last couple of years. They see the gear and the setup, especially what it was more so back then, to what it's becoming now, and they're like, oh, it's Chic Jr., which it's not wrong. It's the package I put together at one point, but I don't want to be just known as that. I think there's more I could do. Where, especially some of these other promotions, they just see the picture like, nah, I don't want Chic Jr. They don't know what I can do. They don't know the character I do. They don't know the match I can have. So I need to kind of present a different package. So at the time, I'm still trying to figure this out, and they certainly didn't know I could talk. They put me in a tag team with another Arab-themed wrestler. They gave us an Arab-themed manager and a bodyguard by the name of Adam Payne, who's just gigantic and going on to do some great things. You should have him on the podcast too. He's a lot of fun. So I didn't mean to bury the other three guys in this promo, but I just was leaps and bounds ahead of them. And from there, they just had me cut promos for the sake of cutting promos. And I think this, and if anybody's listening to this hoping to learn something, I'd help you. But but if you are listening to this to learn something, cut promos on anything. Work on your promos and cut promos on nonsense. I do little promo classes at Ace, not as often as I'd like, when there's young kids there. I have them cut promos on stuff like, cut promos on traffic, cut promos on public restrooms, cut promos on, I don't know what I can say and not say, but cut promos on dirty pussy. Bleep that if you have to. And it gets you just more comfortable with your character. What would your character say? And that's sort of what the Prince thing was, because Prince had just gotten on Instagram at that time. It was like September, October of 2015. And everybody's sharing the link to me, like, oh shit, he stole your shit, Prince. He stole your shit. I'm like, okay, I'll make a promo out of it at least. And I remember Cheyenne Ortiz, great announcer, another guest you should have on the podcast. I'm just keep he's the announcer over at Ace, and he goes, what are you going to do if the artist formerly known as Prince actually comes to Ace Crossroads and accepts your challenge? I go, mark the fuck out. I didn't think we needed to worry about that. So, but there's some of my favorite promos, and I cut like 6 or 7 different ones. I've only seen 2 of them actually surface. So those are the lost Prince promos. They're somewhere on the Ace network for $19.95 a month. Or
I'm gonna say you have like the most promos anybody I've seen on like YouTube, and I love how you
better to have my promos and my matches up
there. I love how like you use like song lyrics in them and stuff like that. Like how did that come about? Like, You're like singing to the Sunny, like, oh, Sunny.
Well, that's the cheering gimmick, you know, because
Yeah,
I think it's a neglected part of his gimmick, and I'll say it for any of the quote unquote gay wrestlers because I think it's overly simple to make fun of Sonny or Eddie McQueen or Jamie Senegal or Rick to just say, oh, hey, you're gay and whatever. It's like we've evolved. I believe we've evolved around that as a people. Here is super liberal Prince, anti-Trump, pro-gay. Obama's coming for your guns. No, I'm kidding.
Staffing him now.
Oh yeah, I heard about that this morning. But it's just he does the cheerleader because he does have a cheerleading background, and that helps with his athleticism. So what made me think of cheerleading, but that old Tony Basil song. And it was something the Honky Tonk Man said. With promos, try to find a song lyric that people know or most people know. Now music has become so fragmented, you never know, and just build it off the promo. And there was another one. What was that other song? Let's hit it for the boy.
Yeah.
Let's hit it, boy. And it's having fun. It's having fun, and I try to incorporate it just because I can only say the same promo so much. And I have my little stock promos that are new in a place, and I have my introductory promo. Tell your grandchildren about the day you first saw Prince Akkanatan. It will be a day that lives in infamy, but for me, it's just another Saturday. I've given that promo fucking 18,000 times, and I'm sick of it. So I want to do something unique. Plus, YouTube is the uncrowned king of social media. Another thing wrestlers can learn here. Put your effort into YouTube. Yeah, keep posting your pictures on Instagram. Try to be a thought and try to get girls. But if you do well at YouTube, that's the only social media platform that pays you.
Yeah.
If you get that advertising dollars, you're set.
I want to talk about the Get Hooked promo. Yeah.
Got the shirt.
With the
I do.
boot.
Now available in blue.
The boot was broken. You wanted to get some new boots. You remember that one?
Oh yes. Ironically, the new boots have broken too already. They're getting replaced.
With the hook.
Well, it's also like I said, some guys, and this, again, nobody's right or wrong here. It's just an observation. You got plenty of guys that are building their brand and being synergistic, and all these extremely corporate business jargon words to describe how they are as wrestlers because they want to ultimately work for a publicly traded corporation, World Wrestling Entertainment, LLC, or whatever it is. And so they're in that business mindset. And since I would love to go to WWE someday, but I don't think that's ever going to happen for me, and I'm okay with that. So I'm just enjoying where I am. So I'm being somewhat of the opposite, and I'm almost like the last of the carnies. To see me at intermission try and squeeze a 4X fanboy into a 2X print shirt, I like to think it's a skill that's a lost art here in independent wrestling. If I only have 2X left, that pub is getting a 2X. I'm sorry.
You gotta hustle.
Oh man, who's a better hustler, you or Virgil?
Again, until I meet him in person, I can't say for sure, but I bet Virgil is much more experienced.
So
he just puts the peer pressure on you. I know from experience. He chased me around the rec center.
Yeah, I've never chased anybody. I've never pre-signed a picture and thrown it at somebody and say, now you owe me $5. No, I've never done. So yeah, it's definitely Virgil. Even without meeting him, I'll say, okay, Virgil's ahead of me. I can't do that.
Like Olive Garden?
Actually, no.
No?
Not really, no.
We're gonna treat you.
We're in New Jersey. There's a lot better Italian restaurants than the Olive Garden.
No, but
But hey, a free meal's a free
They
meal.
don't have the
No
bread.
backsies. It is about the breadsticks.
oh my goodness. So you talked a lot about Sunny Kiss. Is there anyone that you see like that's on the independent scene that you can see like being that next breakout star like Sunny Kiss?
Sure. You mean anybody who's not already like being talked about to that
Yeah,
degree?
yeah.
Oh, gee, okay, so I'll have to think about this for a second. You talked about Orlando, we talked about MJF, Rude Boy Riley's definitely in there.
Yeah, of course.
But going one lower, I think the Amazing Graysons is a tag team.
Oh wow, yeah.
They
Allie
can-
Rex.
Definitely. Yep.
Ali Rex, when she's healthy, she's going to be back in about 10 days, I think. And as long as she could, stay on a clear path and stay injury-free, absolutely. But and as far as women, not to diminish Ali Rex, MJ Jenkins, I think would do very well in like a Lucha Underground type situation or something like that. Um, there's just so many talented people out there. It's a great time to be a wrestling fan. This is a great area to be an independent wrestling fan. Um, beautiful, and I'm just happy. I'm just happy to be a part of it. I'm about to cry, you know. And I'm just happy to be a part of it. I really am. I don't care if I become a star. I'm happy to do what I can to help other people become stars.
Yeah.
So, you yourself are like very unique gimmick type of person. Sunny Kiss is a very unique personality. So, with that said, how was your experience with Kamala, who also is the same type of unique personality?
It was a dream match. I consider that a dream match. Like I said, my favorite growing up was Yokozuna. He passed away before I got into business. Some of my other favorite, Bam Bam Bigelow, also passed away before I got into business. Kamala was probably the next best thing for me, especially for the type of worker I became. If I did actually wrestle Bam Bam, it would be a very different match. I'm not that style. Even though I liked him growing up, I'm not that style. The guy like Brew Van Slyke, who I've never really met, he strikes me as that Bigelow type. But for Kamala, and especially, again, like I said, I was blessed with wrestling a lot of name guys. And because it was ECBW and their old school, I've wrestled a lot of older name guys. Greg Valentine, Bushwhacker Luke, Snuka, you name it. So they get to a point, and this is not being mean, but it gets to a point where they can't do much. So when I'm driving in the car with some of these younger guys, especially like a Corey Dillinger or something, I give them this challenge. I'm like, here's your psychology challenge. You're wrestling Greg the Hammer Valentine. You're the heel. How do you wrestle him? What do you do to him? He can't bump for you. He's not gonna run. What do you do? And hopefully they get the answer. And there's a little challenge for you. DM me wrestlers. Actually, don't DM me. But think about stuff like that. You have to get that personality out there. And I'm sorry.
I was gonna say, like, I know what you're talking about because last 2 weeks ago I went to SWF and
How are they doing without me? I'm kidding.
Damien Gibbs had a match with Tino Santana.
Oh, Damien Gibbs is fantastic.
And
He's another one. I'll throw him on that list of guys.
I was like, first, and he was on the show and he's great. I'm like, man, they're gonna give me Tino Santana, and the match was great. And he just did amazing. He's one of my favorites.
Well, that's the mark of a good worker,
So I can kind of see what you're saying. Like,
it's also a booking stand, but like that's a little surprising. Like one of the other reasons I think I don't know, I can't go inside every booker's head who put me with these older names, but it's because of the gimmick that we can get the heat on the gimmick and the promo, and not so much the in-ring work. Whereas if you bring in a name like Shelton Benjamin, you're not gonna put me with Shelton. You could, I'm sure it'd be a fine match, but give him to Road Riley or give him to Sean Carr, and give me Tito, or whoever. But as far as Kamala, back to Kamala real quick, I'll share the Kamala story. Not only was I blessed to wrestle him that day, but I gave him a ride from Newark, New Jersey, right over here, to Cortland, New York, which is about 4 hours away, each way. And originally I was going to go with 3 other guys, and he was so big. I drove a Jeep at the time. Kamala's knees were in the dashboard. His head was hitting the ceiling.
Oh my god.
And it was just a beautiful ride. I'm trying to pick his brain. I also don't want to be a mark and be annoying. He's telling me little stories and stuff. And the one thing is, I think he didn't realize how far away the show was from his hotel. Which I would have got him a hotel up there. Would have made more sense. Or I don't know if there's an airport. I don't know if there's an airport in Cork. I guess Syracuse would probably have been a closer airport. But we're driving, and then after 3 hours of driving, he just blurts out. He goes, "Where the hell this building at? I feel like I'm working for Bill Watts again." But he's a great man. God bless Kamala.
So
Buy his book, by the way. Very good. One of the better wrestling. And I'm not even just saying that because I'm biased, but he had a really good biography. If anybody needs a good read, surprisingly funny. But go on.
nice. All right, so you want the rest of us to stay out of your DMs. We got that part.
Well, not all of them. There are a few that can slide right in. They know who they are.
But, so I want to ask you, what advice would you give to someone that's trying to break into the wrestling business?
Don't.
No,
I'm kidding. You're gonna be tested. And you'll be tested by me. Like I probably would legit tell somebody, don't. If they still want to do it, they'll still do it. Find a good school, do your research. Generally, for fresh off the street guys who no training, I would recommend the Warriors a wrestling school. There are plenty of good schools out there. This isn't the only one I recommend, but as far as fundamentals and basics, and not only that, a lot of their students just are so professional and so well done. So they do it right. No disrespect to any of the other places I work out. I work out at Ace a lot. I work out at ECBW a lot. But something about Warriors and their structure of their practice, which especially when you're new, you really need that structure. I really recommend them. And then beyond that, find a way to set yourself apart. Think about who you are. You can never overthink your character. Think about what they would order at Taco Bell. It's never going to come up in a match. It's never going to come up in a promo. But if you think about that minutia of who you are, who the Prince is, who Jamie Senegal is, who Mike Orlando is, what they do at every moment of their day, that's a recipe for success, in my opinion. But who am I?
You've been in the ring with Jordan Oliver,
Right, yes.
and those are like the new cream of cops, Kid Christian and Jordan Oliver. Do you see them progressing even further? Because Kid Christian is beloved.
Yeah, yeah.
And
One thing I would say to not just those two kids, but yeah, it's a good lesson for anybody, I guess, but especially younger talent who are starting to get a following. Do your best to stay humble because it's so hard not to sometimes. Because sooner or later, a reality check will come in. And you might have so many people patting you on the back and saying good job, but there's also a lot of people waiting for you to fail. I'm not one of them because I don't care. As I said, I'm not getting signed. I'm not going anywhere. I'm old and fat. That's enough. But be careful. Just keep doing you. Keep being the success that you are. And if you really are that successful, you don't need to brag about it, and you don't need to bring anybody else down to be a success. And be a good self promoter. But yeah, those two kids are great. I've wrestled Jordan. I haven't wrestled Christian one on one. I wrestled him in like a Survivor Series type of match real quick. But two talented kids. And they're so young. It's only sky's the limit from here. It can only go up from here.
he had a match with Sean Maluda.
I heard about that.
Crazy,
Yeah.
crazy.
That's great.
Who helped you come up with the look? Did you come out with the gold robe and stuff like that? How did that come about?
I wish I could tell you it was some deep planning, but no, the gold pants were what they had in stock, and the gold pants are what I got when I first debuted. No, actually, I had my first match before I even had real gear. I'm almost ashamed to say it because the gear has become such an important part. But I was told about my first match the morning of. I was just at training, working out, and they come back later today. We've got a birthday party at the school, and I wrestled on that party, and I was wearing black New Balances. These pants that were basically Zubazes. I don't think they were actual Zubazes, but something like that. And they had like a celestial type of star pattern on them, and it's like the makeup is not what it is now. The makeup evolved over time to like a nice pattern. I could do it quickly and easily, and it's nice. But back then it was pretty much like eyeliner that just went side to side. It was pretty terrible. Um, but the worst thing, and I guess this isn't really what you asked, but I'm going to tell you anyway. They're like, well, you don't look Arab enough. You need to put on baby oil and iodine. You mix it together, and you're gonna look more tan. And you might even look a little more vascular. I'm like, I'm pretty fat. I don't know how much this stuff to look vascular. Especially back then, I was a good maybe 260 in my first match. I'm about 220 right now. I don't know if this was a rib or I just didn't get the ratio right, but I was yellow and I turned the ring yellow. And I also learned it's not okay to ask Bull James to rub stuff on your back. It just didn't work. But hey, I was new to the business. I didn't know at the time. So what was the question? I don't even remember.
How did you come up with like the robe and like the whole?
Seriously. Oh man.
The robes evolved over time too. One of the robes, the really glittery one, I don't wear it anymore, but I wore it for many years. That was actually given to me by Tony Myers. Apparently, he was on a ring crew one day with somebody, and it was a lucha show somewhere in the Bronx that I wasn't on. I didn't go to it, but I guess one of these lucha guys left this thing behind, big, solid gold fabric, and they gave me, hey, this would fit you. Like, okay, it's a big sheet. There's no arms. There's no swimming course is gonna fit me. I'm not that fat, but so and that was always in the back of my mind that one day I would run into this luchador and be like, "Hey man, you got my robe." I'm like, "No." Can you describe this gold robe? So eventually the thing started to smell like shit because there was no way for me to clean it. Any dry cleaner wanted like $125 to dry clean. I'm like, shit, I could buy a new one for that price. I wasn't going to because I was a cheapskate, but I could have. And it started to smell, and that I wore that before I retired when I came back, and I remember one night, one of the last nights I'm wearing this smelly ass gold robe. I had a mystery partner at BBWF, which turned out to be Kenny Bangle. I had to cover him. So I covered him in this gold robe. So while I'm doing the promo, making Bangle wait under the smelly robe, I'm just going on and on and on. Oh, sorry about that, Kenny, but I don't rip that off. But when I do, it smells.
So I have a question. Like the Prince Akkanatan, how like is there a significant meaning to like the Akkanatan?
Ooh, we're really exposing a lot today. I don't normally get this deep in a podcast. I usually kayfabe it up pretty good, but I don't know. I guess you guys are so likable. You promised me Olive Garden, so
I was gonna say,
You turn us down.
you're saying maybe you're not on shows. I think it might be because they don't know how to spell that.
And
I think that's what it
another
is.
idea too. I thought about that over the years. Well, at the time I was in college, I was taking art history. And Prince Akhenaten is a real pharaoh from back in the day, and and I knew I was going to be this chic-like character with a pharaoh package, like the old Batman villain, the King Tut, and all that. And I'm doing a practice promo, and I don't have a name yet, but I know what the character, or I have an idea where the character is going. And I just throw this out there, like, Prince Akhenaten. And I'll come up with something better later. But another guy who was training there by the name of Dan Mandini, he's like, nope, that's the name. That's the name. And then, it kind of grew on me because then it's like, well, the ring announcer will get it wrong, but I'll get my heat on the ring announcer. No, you stupid ring announcer. But now I don't even have the energy to do that anymore. So who's got the time? I have shirts to sell now. It's not the same.
You'll do better next time.
Exactly.
A lot of the WrestlePro guys have been coming to the BBWF show. The guys like CPA.
I love CPA. And I love Team Hispania too.
I saw that. Yeah.
Do you ever think about maybe trying to get onto the WrestlePro shows or something like that?
I would love to. I guess I would need to talk to somebody about that. It's a good idea. Why, you know somebody? No, okay. Get me booked.
I wish I had the power. I would have you on.
They put you guys all together. You could be Team Espinacan.
Espinacan.
And also, I was thinking like this is a great match. I thought of for you, you and Santino.
Oh, I would love that.
I thought that'd be
would.
That'd be good.
like just a classic match. Your style and his, just the Cobra.
What about Habib?
Yeah.
Oh, I love Habib.
That'd be awesome too.
I want to
You get
team with
Habib.
Habib at some point.
That'd be
They
dope.
also work for the UPWA, which runs sporadically. Which I guess the guy who runs it doesn't have a map, but he runs in North Carolina and New Jersey and nowhere else. But I see Habib and CPA and Espana over there as well. Some of the rest of the guys over there as well. So that would be great. I would love to.
When I first saw you, Santino is the first thing I thought of.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like remember at the Royal Rumble, he got in the ring with Mick Foley and stuff like that. The Cobra versus Sacco. I just could see something like that just going down and just choking Santino with just grab or, killing each other. That'd just be like, I can see the promos going back and forth. It would just be gold.
It would be a treat.
So I'll ask my final question. What is your goal in wrestling? What do you want to be known for?
There's a lot of goals. I enjoy being, and to a point, I kind of have this and I kind of don't. I'm not gonna have this for everybody, but I enjoy being one of those wrestlers that just hearing the name kind of pops as a wrestler. Like, I was riding with friends, and they get a big smile. Like that smile just came across my face when you mentioned CPA. Just that sort of like, I love that dude. He's a great guy, and that just being valued. I know I'm not going to be a worldwide star. There's not, other than that beautiful custom that guy made, there's not going to be any Prince Akhenaten action figures. There's no Prince Akhenaten There will be Prince Akkanatan books, by the way, self-published. They're coming out in the next 2 months, so be on the lookout for those.
Nice, yeah.
Not a biography, poetry.
No, okay.
And if it doesn't come out in time, then this is just a rib. So, but just enjoying it, and like I said, helping others. At this point, I really like to, especially like I'll say Matthias Glass again, NCPA, and Espana, some of these character-based guys. It's almost like sometimes I feel we're a dying breed. I don't know if that's just being paranoid or whatever, but to keep that entertainment aspect in wrestling is something I enjoy being a part of. And just making friends and enjoying myself. At this point, those are my only real goals. But that doesn't mean don't buy a Prince Akhenaten and Get Hooked T-shirt at my live events or DM me. I'm on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, any conceivable form of social media, even Google Plus for some reason. I'm on there too. Just at Prince Akhenaten. That's AKKANATAN.
Awesome.
Like the tattoos.
Sure.
What? Are there any meanings behind those? Stuff like that? On the chest.
Oh yeah, the sun and the moon. Yeah. I got them all before I got into wrestling. I can say that. I haven't had a good idea since the sun and the moon, so I don't. And to me, it's also a more of where I was at the time in my life. For example, the Audrey 2, I got that instead of going to my prom. The life is a gimmick is just sort of a mantra, which a lot of people don't even pick up on. Yeah, I don't have any great stories. I mean, I'm so used to strippers asking me what my tattoos mean when they're stalling for time during a lap dance that I'm automatically turned off by your question.
Oh man.
I'll trade you a shirt.
That's
Yeah.
That's funny. So, do you have? Is there anything upcoming that you're gonna be on?
There's plenty to be on. Like I said, BBWF Battle Mania is this Sunday in North Plainfield, New Jersey, if this is going to air in time. Ace Pro Wrestling every month, defending the UPWA Tag Team titles with Adam Bradley at the end of this month on March 25th, I believe it is. Like I said, be on the lookout for the self-published books. Buy a Prince Akhenaten t-shirt. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and everywhere else you can possibly follow me, except into the locker room because you're not allowed in there. So,
Nice. Well, we thank you for your time.
thank you. It's a lot of fun.
Thanks for answering all our questions, giving us some good laughs. We definitely appreciate it.
All right, take it easy.
And before we go, you can follow us at Wrestling IQ 101 on Twitter, Instagram, our website, WrestlingIQ101.com. See you soon.